Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. I hope everyone's doing okay. It's been a bit, it's been a while, it's been a long time, technically. In the grand scheme of things, it's been very long. So I'm going to give the room a little time to populate since it's been so long. For those who are here already, welcome. I don't expect a large crowd because it's been such a long time. But I'm here nonetheless. Let's see here. Make sure this is public. There we go. There are the people. Hi, Amy, Michelle. I did not mean to be on such a long sabbatical, but some really big family issues came up, and it kind of tossed me overboard. And put my brain in a sort of a spin. So it's now coming back down off of it, and I can kind of put myself back out in the limelight a little bit. So, but I apologize for being gone as long as I have. I just needed to address me for a minute and deal with the current situation. So, not something I envy anyone going through, not anything I want anybody else to ever have to go through. Not over yet, but I gotta get back on the horse at some point. So, which is what brought me to this topic today. Thank you, Sheila. By the way, Sheila, your text message today was, I mean, as usual, but it was exactly on point. So thank you for being so persistent and consistent with those texts. Thank you a lot. I mean, like, it really means a lot. So today, life and curveballs. It always seems to be that when things are going well, they don't go well. And not just life, but things just have a habit of breaking down in front of you and funneling out of control and just kind of spinning loose. And there seems to be almost no way for you to grab a hold of things in time before it just completely, dismantles in front of you. Kind of had one of those weeks where the test came to me about what my core belief and what I've been espousing, whether or not I truly and genuinely believed what I was saying. The good news is that the test proved my resolve of what I was saying to be factual. I do indeed agree with things I say, and I do indeed plan on going through with the things that I espouse because I was tested in it. But the rarity of that is what I want to address, because it's not often that you get tested in something you believe and you realize that you pass first time. You usually fail the first time. You usually realize I'm not as strong as I say I am. I'm not in the location mentally where I believe the things I say, or even can really go through with the things I espouse that I can go through with. When push comes to shove, I'm not 100% on board with the things I say I believe in. So in this case, the curveball that life threw would have normally struck me out, I think, in a different phase in life, but it did not. it kind of solidified some things for me. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Jennifer. It solidified some things for me. I didn't want the situation, but it came, and that's just how life is. It does not always bring the things you want. It brings the things that are coming to you, and you have to adjust with what comes. I ran into a quote by a pretty awesome person, and you may recognize this person, his name anyway. And so I want to bring that up for you here. If I can locate it. There. Okay. So, if I can bring, that's not what I wanted at all. Why is this being such a douche? I want this. There. So I want you to read this for me. So the thing is, yeah, exactly, Nicole. So I'm a great big fan of C.S. Lewis. A really big fan of C.S. Lewis. And this quote popped up, and it says, hardship often prepares an ordinary person for an extraordinary destiny. And I do consider myself pretty ordinary, pretty run-of-the-mill, pretty normal. But this is a very factual statement. Hardship does indeed create in us fortitude. It creates in you this ability to forge ahead. It builds your character. But for me, it also solidifies your belief system. So you believe God, you believe in God, and then you get tested to prove it, to stand by it and not denounce it. In that moment is a hardship that you may not consider a hardship. The accepting that you do, if you prove yourself right by standing up and saying, yes, what I espouse, I believe, and what I believe, I stand by, you'll find yourself very, 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 very firm in future battles of that nature. Because if you do it once, you can do it again. It's the same thing with failure. If you allow a failure to set in as your nature, the next time a test comes up, you will fail again. Period. Because what you allow, you will allow perpetually. It's the reason why you see people stay in abusive relationships, because of what they allow once, they will allow a second time, regardless of how much more egregious it is a second time. What little sin you allow now, you will allow a bigger one, because once you do it, you'll do it again. However, if you even put up a resistance to it, the next time it happens, you still will initially have resistance. Paul said that if he said that the things I want to do, I find myself not doing, and the things I don't want to do, that's the stuff I find myself doing. The mere fact that he can identify that proves the battle in his mind is not one of subserviency to his problems. It's an innate fight that he always senses. Some of us do not accept that fight. We submit too early. So when a curveball comes our way, even though we say things out loud, Our actions are submittal. We just give in. It is the reason why there are two different types of people in the world. There are people you will see come from the worst backgrounds. And I mean, they have been hammered, they've been smashed, beaten by life, just completely decimated by life. And you will see them thrive. Why is it that they can thrive while someone else who has had the golden life fails? It's response, how one chooses to respond. When life throws that curveball, if your resolve is weak, so will your response. Your response will be weak. If you put up just a little bit of a resistance, you start to flex that muscle just a little bit, you will start to create in yourself the wherewithal to fight back against the things you don't want to do. The more you give in, the more you will give in. It is no accident that Paul said this stuff. Okay, it's no accident, because it's a day-to-day struggle for just about everybody. The day-to-day things that you deal with, and I mean up to the small things, the very small things. Do I get out of bed now? That extra minute you spend in bed creates one more minute of laziness. It's that it comes down to that much of a difference. The difference between success for you and success for somebody else is they step out of bed 1 minute sooner than you do. They have a 1 minute head start on you. And in that 1 minute, they can accomplish a minute more than you have accomplished. Even if you stay up a minute later, that's also a minute later that you have and not going to bed. And that means less sleep. So they still get a minute more sleep than you and are able to now wake up 2 minutes earlier. So now you're 2 minutes behind. Because now you'll be tired, more tired. It's a snowball effect, you see. That laziness is a snowball effect. Your poor decision is a snowball effect. The logic behind life and its effects on you and its curveballs that it throws, the reason why God sends those things is not to mess with you to the point where you want to fail. It's to test your resolve muscle. It's to test your trust muscle. Do you really trust me to get you through this? And if you do trust me to get you through this, are you willing to put in the other half of the work? Because the trust is a two-way street, right? It's a two-way street. He asks you to come, and he will come too. There is a work that you have to do, and there's a work that he does. His is usually done long before ours. But there's a reason why he picked us to use us. But he can't do that if we refuse to do our part. The link I'm going to make between that and how we are involved in today's world. I have long said that if you stay silent, you really have no say in what's going on. You can't be saying anything in an angry way if you're not really trying to do anything outside of just screaming at the top of your lungs. If you complain only but give no solutions, doesn't make any sense you say anything. I can't understand why this government's doing this. Vote the government out. I can't understand why this congressman's like this. Get rid of the congressman. But if all you do is complain about him and then you don't go vote, putting all the tomfoolery aside that they've, the shenanigans that they've done with the voting system, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the action itself. Then you can't talk. You leave no room because you're not doing anything other than complaining. The purpose of the hard balls in life is for you to swing. It's an action. It's calling you to action. every time it's calling you to action. When you think about life where you are, I want you to work with me on this little scenario here, okay? I want you to think of a situation you're in right now that is pressing, that will require you to be outside of your normal chain of command, that will push you past your limits, that tests your patience. Think of that one scenario that you might be in right now. What is the one thing that you don't want to do, but you have to do in order to get past this situation? I want you to just focus on that for a second. What's that one thing that you can clearly see that you should be doing, but it's outside of your comfort zone, just past what you think you can do, and it's just, I don't know if I want to go there yet. That moment is a defining moment for you. Because the mere attempt at doing something that you know you're supposed to do, but you feel like you can't, is a win. That one moment is defining. You get to this point where you are at a crossroad, and right across the road, the direction you're supposed to go is something very, very daunting. Behind it, though, you can clearly see green grass and just room to run. You can see it. But there's that one thing on the other side of the road that you just don't. I'd prefer really not to go get that. I'd prefer not to be there. I really would. I don't. And so you stay, or you try and find another long way around, or you turn around and go back and never get to that green grass. Those moments are the difference between your success and your failure in future endeavors, not necessarily in the one there. Because even if you attempt to go across the street and something that you can't accomplish, you're still closer to your goal than you were on the other side of the street. But the effort you make sets the grounds for your next endeavor. I had to learn that lesson the hard way this week. And now my next endeavors have to include some things that I don't necessarily want to encounter, but I must if I am to be better. If I am to get past this trial, if I'm supposed to get past what's going on, I have to do this. So that's my example. So what do we do today in today's climate? Because let's be honest, this whole election issue was a curveball. So then what's your reaction and what's your next step? Okay. Because the hard step is the obvious one. The easy step is to wait. But which one will yield the result that you need is the hard step. The one that may eventually yield a good result would be to wait. But you have no concept of what might be coming after or during the waiting. A bunch of things could go south. The solution may be changed. The solution may not be there. What you thought might have been the long-term solution won't be the solution. So you're hinging your bets on something that's really, 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 really out of control. Meanwhile, there's an obvious answer, but it's too difficult to take. At least in your mind, it's too difficult to take. So do you take it? I say we take it. I say, yeah, it's difficult, but I say we take it. Because in the long run, it will yield something much, much, much greater to our benefit. I think what the left don't understand is that we thrive on hardships. Conservative and Christians, we thrive on hardships because it's what our belief system is based on. It is what it's built on. It was built on hardship. It was built on trials. It was built on trying what you believe. And when it's tested, it's solidified. When something is solidified, you can stand on it. When you can't stand on it, you have problems. You say you believe it, but it's not something you've ever tested. Kind of like socialism. Folks that believe in socialism never tried it, never lived in it, but fully believe in it, that it's going to work. But they can't seem to let go of the one thing they say they don't want, which is capitalism. This is the theory in action. They hate capitalism. They say it's worthless, but they refuse to let go of it. It is why you'll see them being hypocritical in their approach to things. I don't like socialism. I don't like capitalism, but I'm going to use all the stuff that capitalism affords me in order to erase it. Knowing that they don't really know what they're getting into socialism because they have no clue what it is, because they've never lived through it. They've never gone up abroad to witness it. They've ignored every call to look at it. They don't know the exact hardship that it will bring, but the concept is so appealing. They want all of the reward with none of the work. They're the kinds of people that wake up 5 minutes later than they should have, but expect to get to the same location that the person who got up 5 minutes earlier got to without the 5 minute earlier work. That's how they handle life in the curveball. That is not how we are built, and it is not how we should live. At all. What you want, you have to work for. The result you want, you have to achieve on your own. Even when God is doing something, he will not continue to do something if you are not in it. You know that he could have saved Nineveh, right? He could have picked somebody else. He could have saved Nineveh right off the top without needing Jonah whatsoever. But he picked Jonah. Jonah picked the easy route by running. I ain't doing that. I don't like them people. I'm good. Dip the other way. He put himself into 15 million different hardships that he did not need to go through, because the solution that was presented to him was not what he wanted to take. That curveball he avoided. But if you realize God didn't just leave him, period. He wanted God to just leave him. If we approach life the way Jonah did Nineveh, we would get nowhere. We would get absolutely nowhere. Because the call to action can be given, but the action is still needed to take place, and the only person to do that action is you. Jonah was told to go. He said, nah. God said, well, you're going to go. I'm just going to give you the option to go on your own free will. You can go your way, or you can go my way. Either way you're going, but you can make this way harder than it needs to be. Meanwhile, people in Nineveh were suffering because of his stubbornness. He had to get swallowed by a sea animal and regurgitated on land. And even then, he was doing it reluctantly. He's literally waited. See, I did what you wanted. Now I'll kill him. I'll wait for that. He was patient enough to wait for what he wanted, mind you, okay? He didn't want the people to be saved. So he waited around for that. And even in that, he was protected. You see, the moral that I see in Jonah's story is that the hardship of things that I don't want to do will not go away just because I don't want to do them. Sometimes they'll just wait for me to be ready to do it. And the hardship will just linger until I do what I have to do. The curveball will just keep coming and coming and coming and varying up in speeds and delivery until I take a swing. But if I don't take the swing because I'm afraid that I won't hit the ball, did you know that not taking the swing is also missing the ball? You're also missing the ball by not swinging. At least in swinging, you can gauge how close you got to the ball the last time. There is a benefit to every action you take. And there's always a consequence to every action you don't. Pretty simple. So I will leave you with this. Your inaction yields a result that perpetuates your hardship. Your inaction yields a result that perpetuates your hardship. It is up to you to decide if you want that hardship perpetuated or gone. It's that simple. Your inaction yields a result that perpetuates your hardship. So it behooves you to act. Baby steps. We hear that all the time. One step at a time. It became a tiring mantra back in the day, one step at a time, one day at a time. Or you can sit down. You'll never get up the mountain sitting down unless you got some really good butt cheeks. You got to have some strong butt cheeks to clamp your way up there, but I highly doubt sitting down is going to get you there. I highly doubt it. So choose today to act in any small way. Because even in that small movement, you've accomplished more than anyone who didn't do anything. You're miles ahead by that point. Inaction yields inaction. Inaction yields inaction. So I encourage you, if your belief system is something that you hold dear, that you say you are genuinely engulfed in, put it to use. Test it. Life will test it for you as well, but test it. But when life does decide to test you, do not be afraid to act. Because in that action, you will find some of the greatest resolve you will ever encounter in your life. Ever. I should be back on with Corey. What today is? Tomorrow. Our plan is tomorrow too. I'll call him and verify all that tonight. So I can get back on the horse. And maybe one day I'll divulge the whole struggle, because I think people do need to hear about this particular one. But just not yet. I'm not able to divulge it yet. Emotionally, I'm not able to divulge it yet. I won't make it through. So if nothing else from this little conversation we had, don't be afraid to act. Don't be afraid to put your belief system in motion, and don't be afraid to test it either, because it was built for the test. It was built to win as well. So, one more thing. Tomorrow, be on the lookout for an update. My website should be going live either tomorrow or Wednesday. And I will bring you all on for the reveal, for those who want to be on for the reveal. And you guys can go and get that, bookmarked on your phone and on your computer. The platform is still in process, but my website should be functional come tomorrow or Wednesday, hopefully tomorrow. And the download options and membership options will be available hopefully in the next month and a half. But the benefit of it being live is that I can stream there and no worries about being shut down. So that's the key. So look out for that update tomorrow. I'll give you at least an hour and a half to 2 hours heads up as to when I'm going to have my live reveal. And we'll go from there. I'm pretty excited about it. But in the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the night, and I hope that it spoke to somebody, because it definitely this week has spoken to me deeply, and I hope it was an encouragement to someone out there who needed to hear it. It did give me a new direction to go with my content. It definitely did that. So not a huge change, just a more pointed direction. So love you guys, and I will be in touch, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern, and catch up with Corey and I then, and reveal later that day. Love you guys, and have a good rest of the night. Peace.